Pastryqueen. Yes, you see me up because I just woke up at 7 o'clock, well, maybe a little bit before 7. I'm trying to see if I could put the comments on my TV and see if that helps. And I took a shower, and now it's not letting me. And now I am walking my little morning walk, to get things pumping and going after being down for a while. Let me sleep. Last night was not a great night's sleep, but it's okay. Um, let's see if I can get this, because last time I wasn't able. There it goes. Let's see. Last time I wasn't able to read the comments. So let's see if I could find this. I know this is this was not a planned. There it is. Okay, I think I found it. So I could start reading comments. Hi, Johnny. ¿Cómo está? Buenos días. Oops, it's talking. Hold on. Let me put it on pause or whatever. Not pause, but mute the TV. Let's see. Cross my fingers. Well, I see myself, so that's a good start. Hello, Sarah. I have my wheelie chair. Oh, there we go. And I don't see the comments. I'm going to try to figure this out. Oh, I see. There's an area where I can. No, there isn't an area where I can see comments. Oh, well. I tried. Good morning, Helen. Oh, it's chilly here, too. It is very chilly here. And it's been a day. Okay, I don't know. Maybe comments will come up on the TV. Maybe not. I will try my hardest. So if you could see, Honey and I had, after I see, oh, good to see you. Yeah, I miss my morning lives too. I had a couple, yesterday was a day, not really that great at all. And then the day before that, I was just really tired. So when I'm feeling good, I try to come on because it's nice and lifts my spirits. And if you could see, I don't know if you can see, and I can't really do too much, but here I have my rolly rack. And on here, this is the lid to it. And I've made this. This is also on my channel, how to make like a little ironing board. So I have that. And in here, I just have stuff, right? Just stuff. What I need is a grabber. And I took out a pair of tongs in the kitchen, and that didn't work because I have some stuff down at the bottom I wanted to show you, some more like scrappy blocks that I made out of the Tula Pink. But that's not going to happen because I did not get it, and Honey's not up here. But in any case, here is my little area. This here is the bench to this. I do not bend over. I just have basically things here like my clapper, my ironing pad, my little baby iron, and another ironing board because sometimes I will throw stuff on that and then I'll just move it up there. We turn this around. Normally this is this way, and we turned it around this way so I could see the TV and I could open up the window. Not the window, the sliding glass door, and look outside and feel like I'm outside because it's really too much to set anything up to sew outside, and I really wanted to sew outside. So this is the best that Honey could do of both worlds. And then now when I bought this, they did not have the, I guess there's some kind of shelves here or drawers. So I kind of made my own. Look at this, a shoebox. And I put like all like my little stuff in here, and he found a shoebox that fit in here. So this is where I've got all my little stuff. So I don't have anything up here cluttering. Good morning, Muriel. And really, it's been an interesting 2 days. I'm still a little tired, but I wanted to get on the live because I got up late. There's a medication I take that you can't eat until an hour later. And I cannot be in the kitchen with Honey while he's eating and cooking stuff. It's driving me nuts. So I told him I was going upstairs and I was doing a live to see y'all. So I'm going to show you some things, though, that I have been working on. So in the midst of all this, I've been on Facebook very little, but when I have been on there, a friend of mine whose dad is, they're in hospice, and she was so excited that he had gotten some kind of military award. I didn't know he was in the military, and for a vet, and they were so excited, and he was so excited. And then I got thinking, well, I'm really like not with it, per se. I say that, but then you'll see what I did and you'll be like, that's not with it. Because my Honey's like, well, how'd you figure that math out? I go, I don't know. I just figured it out. But I put together and I just sewed stuff, and it actually ended up looking like a pattern. And maybe someone else out there has done this pattern. So this all started with, as I had my Honey go get these, remember these 5-inch squares that I had gotten? So it starts with those 5-inch squares. And then I had a pile of this as scrap. If you recall, one day I was on here and decided I was going to cut a quilt out. It was for the butterfly panel. And I totally cut it wrong. And then I just got frustrated and I said, I'll just put this in scraps for another day. So if you recall these, I did. I have a stack like this, and then a stack which was probably around like this. Excuse me. I have to have a pillow if I sneeze. Okay. It's all good. Actually, and this is why I have this chair, because it rolls around so I don't have to get up. So don't mind me. I'm going to go grab my pillow. It was the closest pillow I have at the time. But this thing, look at that. It has a hole in its you-know-what. And what you put in there is a heating pad. This is Honey. And it has little arm things. I found out that if I have to cough or anything, I can put my hands in here, hold this in if I'm having a fit, and it works out fabulous. So, yes, so this is my coughing buddy right here that we figured out. So if you see me grab him, you know what's about to happen. Anyway, let's go back. So I had these scraps, and I had these. So I had decided, I have no idea what it is, so I probably should measure, because you're going to ask me, what's the measurements? And I have no idea. So I took 5-inch square, and I said I'm going to make a red, white, and blue quilt. I didn't have to cut anything. These were already these long strips, and they measured, oh, you know what? Honey helped me with the quilting. Let's see. Okay, so I have to do that and then add a half. So these happen to be, I'm going to say they probably 3.5, right? Or 3 1/4. I think they're 3 1/4. I think they were supposed to be cut at 3 1/2, but I cut them at 3 1/4. Good morning. And so we have this. It was just like this. This is how it was when I picked up. So it was 3 1/4. And then I subcut them to 5 inches to match my charm. And what I did was I put a red one, that little 3 1/4. It could be any size you want, really. This is the unit. I'm going to show you the unit I used. This is the unit I did. 2 charms and a center piece, whatever that piece size you want. It's got to be 5, but the width could be whatever size, right, that you want. So this one happens to be 3 1/4. So what I did was I made 36 of these just right here. Here, I'll do it like this. of these, this right here. So those 3, that's what I did. 36 of those. And I can't manage to do my design wall. It's too much on me to be standing and moving too much. So what I did was I just kind of flopped it on the sofa, just, you know, as best as I could. And I said, this is going to have to be random sew. So you're going to see fabric touching fabric, and I don't care. You know, I just want this man to have a quilt. I already contacted his daughter and asked if this was something that they would want. And she's like, aren't you supposed, you know, like, I was like, don't worry, this is therapy for me. So I did not want to match seams. So because I did not want to match seams, I took these units and I sewed them. I sewed 4 units, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 units, and I did them long ways, strips. I'm gonna do this again because this was really easy. I sewed strips and I did 9 of them. And then I said, so I don't have to match seams, I have to offset this. So then I took, here, because I cut too many. I took charms and cut them in half. So this is just a half of a charm. Oh, here's the pieces. Look, this is the pieces. That was the pieces that I had cut. And so that is, oh, sorry. Those are 3.5, not 3 1/4, 3.5. So these were 3.5 inch wide because these were leftovers from the project. Okay. So I cut these in half. And what I did was I put them on every other one. So as you can see, I put a half there, a half there, half there, and half there. And then the ones that didn't have a half, I put a half at the bottom, right there, see? So I did that. After I did that, I would recommend going on the design wall. I just couldn't yesterday, so I just sewed the strips however I pulled them. And this is what we got. Let's see. Good morning, Myra. I'm gonna put you back. I'm rolling with my seat. There we are. I really need to buy a grabber or find a grabber. Here it is. So for the last 2 days, this is what my mind was coming up with. And it kind of gives you a Bargello-y look, right? Because you got red, white, and blue, red, white, and blue. So I was happy with that. And then I don't remember. I apologize. I still got brain mush. Not too much pain brain, but definitely brain mush. Okay. Someone sent me this. I don't remember, but thank you so much. Now you see. So honey, put this on the long arm. We put this on the long arm. See that? And so this is the back. So, and I thought it looked cute together. Look at that. That was me. Thank you, Myra. So I'm glad you're on here, Myra. You see, I really do cherish and love all the fabric you guys send me. I may not use it right then and there, but I cherish and love all the fabric you guys always send me, and I use it, and it's going to make Yvette so excited and so happy during his final, you know, hopefully months and years. I'm not sure what the story is. It's none of my business. But anyway, so there it is. So talk about some basic quilting. Here we go. Look at that. Those are just big, giant, I don't even know what they are. So, yeah. Hold on. I'm removing somebody. So we have that. Today I will, you know, I'm just going to come over here and do that like that. Sew all the way around, and I will have someone deliver it. I have the address. So I will find a friend that can deliver this. I have actually a friend to come visit me today. And so maybe when she goes into Kingston, she can deliver it to the person today. I will have Honey do the washing because well, my son Luke is, or Butters as you know him, he's been doing my laundry, but I'll have Honey wash this today. So that's one thing that I'm did. All right, now we're going to move all of us back. Here we are. I'm loving this rolly chair. So we'll put that there. All right, and really, I'm at my best in the morning. Thank you. So now it comes to this. I could not work on this at all yesterday. Yesterday I worked on that. That took me all day yesterday. And when I mean all day yesterday, I mean that I was probably 75% in this couch, laying down that brown couch. And then every so often, Honey would remind me, you got to get up, you got to move. So I would get up and I would come here and I would sew. And then we would go outside, and I don't know if you could see, but out there, he's got a little setup for me out there too. What he really wants me to do is have enough energy to start walking out to the mailbox. Not there yet, but I'll get there because it's uneven terrain right now. So here we go. So this, if you recall, was the quilt that was in the Creative Notions box. And did I say good morning to you, Michelle? Good morning. Good morning, Princess. So the first block that's to be worked on is the sunflower block. And then the second block is this. Well, I did it like this. And I will say most of this was sewn before I left Puerto Rico. So this was sewn right when I got it. Hi, Rita. And now in those instructions, you're cutting every single piece individually and then putting it together. So you would take this, sew this to this, sew this to this, and then sew that to that. Same thing, okay? Well, you know, I ain't got time for that. Hi, Zaza. And so what I did, these are my scraps because the quilt blocks are done. So basically what's happening is I'm trying to get blocks done. I'm not up yet for putting things on design walls. It's just I don't have either the stand. I'm not quite sure what it's up with it. So what I had done is, look, I had made a strip unit. I figured out how to make the strip unit. I took the sizes of this and made strip units. So this was this strip unit. And then this was this strip unit. Okay, so I needed 2 of those, 2 of these, and then I just cut the sides and just so this here though was 1 strip unit, and I don't have any extra for that. So this was the first strip unit, which was this color, this, and this. So I put that strip unit, put these 2 strip units together. I hope this makes sense. Then I took a regular piece of background, put that on the sides, being that this is not my pattern, I can't give you the sizes, but if you're doing the Creative Notions, this is the tips and tricks for it. And then I put my strip units on the top. And these went by so quick by doing that. So that's that. Again, most of the strip units, almost all the strip units were already done before I left. Now, for this was a strip unit. In the instructions, you did make a strip unit like this. You cut it to size, and then you put those together. Again, this I did before I went to Puerto Rico. So that's my tips and tricks. So now it means I'm working on my sunflower. This here is the corners of the sunflower right here. And then they have you do, and I think we did this together on a live. And this is the snowball. So we just snowballed these. Again, all I did was press these. This stuff wasn't pressed. So I pressed this. Now the next unit I need to make is quarter square triangles. And what they have you do in the cutting is to cut all those little tiny pieces, all those little triangles, and put your quarter square together. Well, I really am not really up for that. And so that didn't happen that way. Sorry, I'm putting all my scraps. See this? This is my scraps, what's left of this quilt. So I'm putting them all here. And then this. I'm thinking a nice table runner, but we'll see. Okay, put that away. So now I have to make quarter square triangles. Again, no way I'm going to be sitting there and cutting all that and working on bias. So what I did, oops, let me put that in here, is you can use the same size. So if you are doing this, you use the size that they told you. Just don't cut the triangle. Don't cut it into a triangle. So when it tells you to, yes, good idea, couple mug rugs. So this square that they tell you to cut in 4, no, just leave it. Just leave it. And then what you're going to do is you are going to take and put a line on the back. Do you see that? That line there? And then this square that they have you cut, don't cut it. Don't cut it. That is the darker yellow. That's the gold. So you're going to put the background and the gold together. This is going to go much faster than trying to do all those little tiny squares. I mean squares, triangles. All right. So we're going to take that. And yes, I am working on my 301A. So we had to do something different because this 301A here, this thing here, oh, I forget that's on. That's weird. How does that go on? Okay, so this is a 301A, and it's, oh, I know why, because I still have, okay, I get it. So this is the side piece. I can't do that with my leg. So we put that in, and I just went ahead and took one of my travel plugs from Prince, and I put that right into here. Who's this? Because Duchess is at home. This is I think this is Princess. Anyway, that's Prince and Princess. That's right. And anyway, so it's one of these kind. And this works on a 301 and a 221, which is a featherweight. So we put that in so I could use it for my feet. Okay, so we have this. I digress, sorry. Oh, wait. The scissors are over here. No, what happened to my scissors? I was cutting stuff on that couch yesterday, and I don't know what I did with my scissors. All right, well, we'll see if these are paper scissors. We'll cut them. All right. Sorry, I'm all over. So you have the 2 squares, and you're cutting it. Let's see. Great idea. I did something similar to the same strips that I had to make a 4-patch. Yeah, exactly. Hi, Catherine. Hi, Jose. So I'm going to cut this. This is driving me nuts. Did I put my scissors? Where's my scissors? My beautiful. Oh, here they are. Okay, these are them. All right. So I have these 2, and then I press to the dark side for this. And you see over here, yeah. So everything is up. So there's not a lot of bending happening. And I have my foot therapy going on. So I have that. Now, if I wanted to, I could use my clapper. And then what I do is I take the 2 yellow squares that they told you. They gave you a number that I can't even tell you, but it's like 4.95876. Like, seriously, it says something ridiculous like that. Just round up. Just round up. So the number that they tell you for this yellow square, round it up to a whole number, okay? It's blank 0.879, I think. Round it up to the next whole number. You take that square, okay? And now you are going to put a line on there, if you see that line. And I put the line perpendicular. So you see the line is here horizontal. We're going to put this one perpendicular to it. See that? And then I am going to come here. This is how I did it. You can do it however you want, but this is going to save you lots of time, okay? So you come in here. And then you run these through. And then you're going to sew on both sides of that line both times. The one time gives you a half square triangle. This time it's going to give you a quarter square triangle. And then I come in here and then I press, see this pressed funny? I'm just going to press that so it goes to the right spot. Okay, I press towards the large triangular, which is the yellow in this case. It just lays flatter. That's not good. I didn't press that right. Hi, Lisa. And you have to make a lot of these. So in the pattern, and I think I could tell you this because I figured this out. They may be correction to this pattern. I don't know. But, and you have probably already made this quilt, but if you haven't, here we go. I'm going to tell you what's the deal with this. You have 2 different kinds of quarter square triangles. And you do need that because you need to make a unit that looks like this. Your unit needs to look like this, see? But before we do any of that, you need to take these large amounts and you need to trim them down. I'm trimming them down with my block lock. I don't know where it is right now. It might be over there. I'm trimming these down with my block lock. So I'm going to put these in the perspective piles they need to go to. And they say that you need 20 of these and 20 of these. But you have to make 40 of these. So something ain't mathing right, right? Because if you only got 20 and you got 20 and you put those 2 together, you still only have 20. So according to this, though, you have to make 40 units. So when I went in and counted, you do need 40 units. So in that case, you actually need to make 40 of these and 40 of these. But they did have the for cutting that I found you have the correct amount for cutting. So just know that in your pattern, that's what I came to, okay? That's for those of you who follow me, just so that you know if you're doing this and you haven't done it, because again, I wasn't on it right off the bat. I'm still not on it. At least you know the little typos that I found. Hello, Deb. Stroll over and snoring commence. Okay, well, you have a good night. What else is going? So that's really it. There's not. I'm gonna shut this off. I'm gonna shut this off. I've been drinking my hibiscus tea to keep myself hydrated, and I could open this up. It's a little chilly this morning, but maybe you could hear the roosters for a little bit. Oh, that was for Debs. Okay. There you go. There's some crowing. So that's what I've been up to. And and that you really, this again, this here is just for me to have my creative outlet right now. And so, and like I said yesterday, I didn't even bother doing as much as I would have liked. I know I didn't do anything on this. My brain is not here for anything that's technical, honestly. Though my honey would beg to differ, but I'm really enjoying this kind of stuff. I'm not gonna sneeze. I had to move my sneezy bear. This is the stuff I'm enjoying. And as you could see, I put like a 2.5-inch strip on the top. I was gonna put it all the way around, but then if I put it all the way around, I wasn't going to have enough, and I didn't want to make it complicated for honey. So I just kept it the width of fabric size. But it's gonna be nice. Look, it fits. I mean, if you're sitting down or you're on a chair, and I can put it on you. So the other thing I did is, if you look in here, there's polyester, not my cotton. And I will tell you, I never did finish telling you the story about a lightweight blanket. So there's two things. There's a times your body feels like it needs that extra hug and compression, right? The doctor actually said a weighted blanket would be good. I actually have one that did not feel great on me, and I just used my regular blanket with the cotton batting. But when I was going through everything, and there are still times now, my skin is so sensitive, I can't explain it. And even something like this could be a little rough. I needed something super soft and super lightweight. And so we were pulling out blankets. Those are blankets. Those are not quilts. This is a quilt. The other thing, so like what Lynn had sent me, actually came in handy because I had one that was given to me as a gift by my niece, and I had another one that was gifted to me by my sister-in-law, and the ones I keep in the car. But I used them quite a bit in my first weeks of recovery. Now I'm using my regular quilts, but I wanted to give the family an option to have something lightweight. Also, something else I learned with my grandmother, that she was at one point of her, her road to heaven, right? She could not use the quilt that I made her. It felt heavy to her. And now I understand. I didn't understand what she meant, but now I do. And so then I made her a lightweight one, and I didn't put even any batting in it. And that's what she used when she went into rehab. And so, though, when she ended up in her last days in the hospital, I did bring her other quilt. The other one is the one that she wanted. And that's the one that she was wrapped in when she went off and flew away with her angel wings. And so that one had the cotton batting. So it's interesting to see what my grandmother was going through, her stages, right? Because I had spent the last month and a half with her. And then what I was going through. So I realized that there's actually stages of quilts. Quilts you want to have your polyester, so it's lighter, and then quilts you want that are a little heavier. So it's all very interesting to me, because now I'm looking at things quite different, and it's just an interesting thing. Interesting. And I've never used Minky, and I could understand why maybe I need to start using some Minky. I'm afraid, honestly, of that stuff. because it has that little softness, like those little light blankets, not the quilts, but the blankets. It may have that soft feeling I was looking for. Don't feel guilty for resting. No, I know, I don't feel guilty, but I just didn't do this. Feel trapped. She's up dancing with the chickens. So I made his light because I figured the family can then, if he feels like he needs more weight, can put it more weight on there. And so, you know, because I don't know where he is in his, you know, way to get in his, where he's going. I don't know much about the stuff. I just know he's on hospice. So now when I start making these quilts, I have to think, or if I know the person, ask. If I'm surprising the person, I don't know. I may veer towards using a polyester. I've never been a poly girl, but seeing what my grandmother went through and what I did, there definitely was comfort in a lighter weight quilt than a heavier weight quilt. And I never thought about that in the past. She has your quilt with her forever now. Yes, she does. My good morning, Nikki. So the story, so you guys all don't know the story, or I started saying the story, and then I told you the next time I was alive, I'll tell you the story of my Grammy. So when I had left, my Grammy was in a lot of pain. And the night before I left, because I saw her at 7, they're very strict in Puerto Rico. They don't allow you to stay. You can have this biggest sob story and they don't care. So at 7 o'clock was the last moment I saw her. That would have been the 17th, because I flew the 18th, I believe. And I told her that I loved her and that I just wanted her at peace. And I said, as much as I want you with me, I don't want you suffering, and it's okay. So we left it at that, and I did a lot of crying. Oh my God, so much crying happened the week that she was in the hospital and stuff, that I'm a little dry-eyed now, but I just actually started getting welled up. So that's good, because that means my emotions are coming back. And I left with an inner peace. And I feel like when I held her and we were at one with an inner peace. I'm sorry, Lisa. I tried to make my charity quilts light. This way it meets all the... Yes, I'm starting to now rethink all this. And so I left with peace. And so no one told me. Everyone knew. I was the only one who did not know that she passed away when she did, because I was being rolled into, you know, the hospital, getting to the hospital and going into the room where they get you ready for it and everything. And then they were like, you're going in, and then there was some kind of delay. And so weirdly enough, when the delay happened, I don't remember much except for that the anesthesiologist, the team came in. Again, I had one regular doctor, 3 assistants, and then 3 anesthetics. 1 main anesthetic doctor and 2 assistant anesthetic doctors. They were actually doctors, not even nurses. And so they said, would you like something to take the edge off before we go into the room and start? So of course I said yes, because I was having like a meltdown in my brain and my body. And he's like, and he did, and all I could remember, it stung so much and hurt. And he says, well, we will flush it out when we get into the surgery room. But he said that there was a delay. And that's all I remember, is it stinging and hurting. And then I remember praying to take care of me and to take care of my Grammy and to just make sure she's at peace. That is all I remember. And then I woke up And then the next day, I called, my mom called me and she said to me, she was like, like this actually. She was like this, and I could hear it in her voice. And I said, "Oh, you're crying. We lost Grandma, Abuelita, right?" And she said, "Yeah, but I didn't want you to know. I didn't want you to know until like 2 or 3 weeks." And I said, "Well, do the kids know?" And she goes, "Well, actually, everybody knows you were the only one. And the kids didn't. The kids wanted me to tell you, and I didn't want to tell you when you came out of recovery." So she had asked me if I knew what time, and I said, "I don't know, around, I would say around, it was supposed to be 9:30." So I said, "I'm going to estimate." I said, "I don't know. I remember praying, and then I don't remember anything. I don't even remember them taking me out of my cubicle to wheel me into the room. So whatever they gave me pre-wise knocked me out." I said, and I'm going to assume it was like 11:30. And my mom said that is when Grandma had her wings and that she was with me for my surgery. So that was comforting. Sorry. See, I hadn't cried all week because I told you, like, my brain has been in pain brain mode, and I started getting my emotions back yesterday. Yesterday is when I started getting my emotions back because I was watching some kind of Hallmark movie situation and I was crying. I don't even know why. Nothing was sad. So so that's it. So I'm going to say Grandma and I met somewhere along the way, right, when I went under, or she was with me. I don't know. So that is what happened. Thank you. Thank you for sending me hugs. And so right now it is a big production if you pass away in Puerto Rico. Good morning, Joyce. Remember I said to you how they really have like these big, like, oh, it's almost like a wedding. But that's not what Grandma wanted because all her friends have moved on. And she had one friend left, let's say, in her crew. And my mom had lunch with her friend, and they told her friend because her friend's children didn't want her to know as well because she was in a bad state. She had something and they wanted to wait. So my mom broke it to her, and she said it was really hard. That lunch was like one of the hardest things. I felt bad. My mom called me crying. And so now everyone knows. So that's not what's happening. We're not having a big wedding type where they put you in this hearse and you go through everything. It's not what my grandmother had because everybody she knows is no longer with us really, other than her immediate family. And her immediate family is me, my 3 kids, Michelle, my mom, her friend, and a handful of my mom's friends, and then her one girlfriend. So so she will be coming back home. Visited my sister the night she passed. I was little, woke up and saw Grandma stroking my sister's hair. The next morning I found that she had passed. Wow, that's right, Lisa. Things are just wild sometimes. And so in any case, she is choosing, hello, to be cremated. And she wants to be with my grandfather here, where my father is. So my mom is down in Puerto Rico. And like I said, it's a big deal over there. Not that, yes, the funeral itself is a big deal, but the process is a nightmare. I mean, she was in a hospital. God, she's in a hospital. Obviously, she is who she says she is. She's in a hospital. But over there, they make you get the records from the hospital. You've got to get the records from the pharmacy for X amount of months. You have to get all the records from the rehab/nursing facility that takes care of your loved ones when they're sick. You got to get all those records. And then you have to get any kind of records if she went to an emergency visit or an emergency clinic. You have to get all that and send all that to the medical examiner. And then, get this, my mom has to ID the body. They have yet to call my mom to do this. I had surgery the 20th, and my mom is freaking out. Hello, Donna. over having to do this. And they had warned her that she wasn't going to look like when she saw her last. And so I talked to my mom last night, and they still have not called her. And I'm like, what are they waiting for? That's, first of all, that blows my mind. My grandmother had passed here in my home. My father had passed in his home. And we didn't have to do any of that. Do they cremate the records with her? I have no idea what they do, Johnny. I just don't understand it. I don't understand why you would put any family member through the pain of IDing, especially she was in the hospital. It wasn't like she was at home and they're like, well, she could be anyone. I mean, they take blood. They gave her blood transfusion. I mean, they know who she is, her DNA and everything. I don't understand why they don't vouch for what the hospital has to say. I mean, I feel terrible for my mom. If I could, I would get on a plane and fly and do it for my mom. And it wouldn't be pretty, but I would do it for her. But I can't. I can't leave here. I can't fly for a very long time. So, like, I just don't get it. So my mom was supposed to come here to help, but she's obviously dealing with that situation there. So she's stuck over there. And she says, I'm trying to get to you the fastest I can because once grandma, all the red tape happens and it's all deemed, no foul play or whatever. They do this for everyone. It's just they do this for everyone. Good morning, Sherry. This is just their procedure. I don't know honestly, I don't know what they do. I shouldn't say foul play because I don't know what they do with all these records. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Any case, when she gets all that done, she's bringing grandma with her, and then we're going to have our funeral service of, I don't know. My grandmother was very, very, very Catholic, so I'm not sure. I actually know the priest here and I get along with him, so when I'm feeling better, I'm going to go to the rectory and talk to him, and we'll have a service at the site, and we'll have our little family service here because basically, it's only my mom over there, so all my grandmother's extended families here. Yes, she's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Yes, she is. 2 years ago, they did not have his funeral for 5 months. It's the paperwork and scheduling a funeral so strange. I don't get it. Yeah. Yes, Anovit. Yes. Well, she had some of that, Marie, in the hospital with some. It was an order of nuns, and they all looked like Mother Teresa. They were so cute. Hello, Linda. And so she did have her last rites, and she had everything she would want. So now, while my mom is dealing with that end in Puerto Rico, here probably next week, and I actually probably could call him and he'll come to the house, which is probably what I'll do. I'll call Tom. His name is Father Tom. I probably call Father Tom, see when he's available, if he could come to the house, and then see what we can arrange for that. I want to say my grandmother would probably want it in the church, but I don't know if they do that when you're cremated or if they only do that at the, I don't know. Honestly, because my mom and my grandma, my other abuela, and my dad were not cremated. So that was a different situation. Hi, Katie. So there you go. There's the story. So you got my story of what was going on with me, my story of my grandmother, and how we're all intertwined right now in this holding pattern. Hi, Andrea. So yeah, that's where we're at. And I'll tell you something, that I wasn't feeling well yesterday. It's not that I wasn't feeling, I was very tired. Rightfully so. Honestly, rightfully so. I listened to my body. But there was something comforting every time I was reminded I needed to get up and walk, that I was able to, again, just do this. This is the piece. This is the unit, the whole unit. 2 charm squares. And this happens to be a 3.5-inch piece of scrap. 36 of these, and then that's what I got. But there was something comforting for me to work on something like this for a I call everybody my friend, you know, an acquaintance, to bring her family some peace. So, hi Jennifer. I think that's Jennifer, right? Prepped for eternity. My brain is starting to come back. There was just something very comforting to work on this, and so I needed that yesterday. I think everything was starting to come back. My emotions were starting to come back. The pain is actually feeling like bruise. It's not a sharp pain like I was at level 20. It's now good. It's just a really deep bruisey feeling. But I'm tired. I think I went to bed last night, even though I was mostly in there yesterday all day. I think I went to bed at 6:30, but then I got up at all hours. So it is what it is. So yesterday, what TV? Any fun TV I watched? You know, I watched something called Leanne on Netflix. There's a series called Leanne, and I watched that. That was kind of funny. It reminded me of like a Roseanne, a Reba. You know, the whole thing is based in Knoxville, Tennessee. Uh, you know, just old timey, just sitcom, you know, because right now everything is like reality TV. So I watched the whole 16 episodes, watched that. That was good. Honey doesn't care for, oh, you love that show. Okay. Honey doesn't care for sitcoms much, even though he worked on them. And he says, oh, Big Bang Theory. That guy's the guy who did all this. You know, I'm looking at the show and he's like looking at the sets and everything. And he's like, then looking at the credits and everything. Oh, I worked with that guy. And yeah, this is that. Oh, that's his daughter that is producing or whatever. I'm like, okay, well, that was a funny show. So I thought it was a funny show. Maybe it's a chick show. So I love that show. I love what Leanne wears. I want her outfits. I think they're fabulous. I would wear those outfits. Not her sister so much, but I do like Leanne's outfits. And then my honey liked, so what we watched together, he watched a lot of Leanne with me, but was the Canadian Bake Off. I didn't know there was a Canadian Bake Off. I always watched the British Bake Off. I love the British Bake Off. And then because I'm never really sitting down watching TV, we're watching Roku, and up came a little thing that said the American Bake Off Summer Edition. Now, I have seen that before. And so we watched that, but it's only one episode. And then it said things you would like, and then up came the Canadian Bake Off. But it starts from season 4. So you can watch from season 4 down. And that's really wonderful. So if you have not heard of the Canadian Bake Off, yes, there's a Canadian Bake Off, and it's on the Roku channel. So we watched all of season 4. Very good. These people are talented, just like they are, you know, on all the other bake-offs. And then we are watching season 5. We're only into the first 2 episodes of season 5. But the judges on the Canadian Bake Off, as much as I like Paul Hollywood and Prue, you know, they're a little sometimes. These guys are super sweet. Like they're telling them what went wrong instead of saying that tastes disgusting and blah, 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 blah. And on to the next. This guy would use nicer language and he would say what went wrong. He would say, your attempt to this was very commending, but you really needed more layers. And if you had more layers, it would have given you the texture you needed. And so he really explained it. So he explained it as if you were going to culinary school. Like when I went to culinary school, they would explain where you went wrong. Some chefs were nice about it. Some would throw sheet pans and call you stupid. But you know, you had the good and you had the bad. So with the Canadian Bake Off, they're all super sweet. The lady's a little bit less sweet, but she's still super sweet. Yes, yeah. So we found that, and we've been watching that. That's been good. And then I was gone in Puerto Rico, and you can't watch any CBS, even though I have Paramount Plus app and the CBS app. For some reason, you cannot get it in Puerto Rico. I don't know why. So I had to get caught up on all my CBS and Paramount Plus watching. And yes, I am a Big Brother junkie. So I had not watched any Big Brother, and I am totally up current to Big Brother. So is my honey. We are both Big Brother fans and Amazing Race fans. So we watched a lot of Big Brother to get ourselves caught up, and all of the Amazing Race. And we discussed, like, well, if we went to the Amazing Race, do you think we could do it? And he goes, I don't know if we can do it now, but we probably could have done it before. And Big Brother, we're not too fond of the new cast. I don't know. They're okay. You know, they cry a lot. I don't know. This season, everybody's crying. And then some people are just mean. And I don't know. I don't know. We're rooting for Will, because he seems, out of all of them, he seems like super sweet, and we wouldn't mind seeing him win. He seems like the less ruthless of all of them. I've been watching a lot of TCM movies from the 40s and 50s. Yeah, I could do that because I'm running out of stuff, Lisa. But you know, we had to watch our Big Brother, get our junk in. But we are absolutely loving the Canadian Bake Off. So if you don't know what that is, I wish I could find out where I could get the season 1 through 4 streaming, because it really is really spectacular. So that's it. I'm all caught up. You're all caught up with my life. That's all that's going on here. So I'm glad to have seen you all. Thank you for joining me and lifting my spirits. And today I'm taking it slow again. It's a slow day again for me. It's all good. So see you all soon. I don't know about tomorrow. I have some doctor's appointments. Tomorrow's Saturday. Saturday's doctor's appointments. And then Sunday is our big annual family barbecue. It's like almost kind of reunion-like. And so my honey is going to bring my chair, my anti-gravity chair, and I'm going to go for a couple hours. I don't have to bring anything. Normally I cook up a storm. Nope, they just want me. You know, part is, you know, we're going to think about grandma, right? Think about her, talk to her, and her sister is going to be there, my grandma's sister, my titi. And I want to see her and hug her and assure her that, you know, grandma was really taken care of towards the end, and, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So I want to go for a couple hours and talk to some people, eat a little, and then come home. But I may see you on Monday. And who knows, maybe I'll have a pop-up. But for right now, I'm thinking that it's going to be a slow weekend for me. And not a busy one, but I do have some things to do. Some appointments to go to. So take care, everyone. Pass it forward. And if you like what you see, please like, subscribe, and share my channel. If you wouldn't mind watching some old things, maybe you are cleaning and you want to put, I have playlists. Maybe you want to take one of my playlists and just hit it. And you could shut off the volume and do your cleaning or do whatever. That would help me out. I'm getting the thing about my watch hours, and I understand I'm just not doing what I need to do, but I have to take care of myself first. So, and then that's that. So everyone take care. See you all soon. Bye-bye.